proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Honorable Commissioners. I recall Mr. Nohatui.
I didn't hear the name properly. Did you hear?
You have the exhibits, Mr. I recall Mr. Nuhaturi. I'm sorry about that. Mr. Kurang,
Yes, Mr. Ture, just reminding you that he's still on the oath. All right, thank you. Yep.
last time you were here,
Yes, please.
you explained the withdrawal of funds from the International Gateway account, the
Yes,
first
please.
transaction,
Yes, please.
which was for $610,000 US.
Yes, please.
Now, do you have CB18? We're waiting for the, all right. Just give us a moment. We are getting the
right.
exhibits.
Thank you.
Miss, if you have the, oh, they are not here. Whilst we are waiting, Mr. Ture,
Yes,
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to ask you a few questions concerning the sponsorship of students
Yes,
from
please.
the Office of the President.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, we have had evidence from the Personnel Management Office indicating that they were the office responsible for training with regard to civil servants.
That's correct.
We have so far also received quite a substantial number of withdrawals made from accounts operated from the Office of the President, sponsoring various students across the world, so to speak, from USA to UK and to some African institutions.
That's correct.
Whilst you were there, was there a policy, any policy
Yes, please.
concerning the sponsorship of students?
I am not aware that there is any policy as such. What I know is that prospective students would write to the Office of the President seeking His Excellency's sponsorship. And once the request is sent to him, he would decide whether to sponsor or not to sponsor. I don't think I have seen any written or laid down policy with regards to sponsorship.
How do ordinary students know that there was any possibility of obtaining sponsorship from the Office of the President?
Yeah, perhaps by word of mouth, that if somebody was sponsored by the President, somebody else would just get to know that and would also want to apply.
Was there any time when the Office of the President published or advertised that there are scholarships available?
I cannot
and
remember
students
that.
could apply?
No, I can't remember that. I can't remember that.
As you know, one would expect that if there are possibilities of sponsorship, this
Yes.
would be open to generally
Yes.
to all Gambians
That is correct.
who are qualified.
That is correct.
Was there any criteria at all that was applied in the sponsorship in at least the selection of students who were sponsored?
As far as I know, it was entirely at his discretion who to sponsor and who not to sponsor. The requests would be sent to him and then he would make the decision. And it transcends that. Because I remember at some point, even the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology would send the list of students that they selected for scholarships abroad. The list would be sent to him for final verification. And in some instances, he would add names to that list.
I see. So was there any particular officer in the Office of the President responsible for training?
No,
for
please.
this?
No.
No,
No, not that I know of.
they just applied to the Secretary General.
Yes, and then he would assign it to any other officer who would bring it to the attention of His Excellency, the former president, for addition.
Okay. We also see that sponsorship was not limited to any particular fund.
Yes, please.
Like you had the Youth Development Fund,
That is correct.
and well, from its name, one supposes that it was meant for youth development, including training. But we see that students were being paid for from every fund. Now, was there any rationale behind which accounts were being used by the ex-president for this purpose?
To begin with, as the name implies, perhaps one would think that it was meant for sponsorship. It was not meant for sponsorship. The Youth Development Fund was created as a revolving fund for the development of youth entrepreneurship. That was the main purpose it was set up for. Money was paid into the account so that potential business-minded youths would apply, and if they succeed, if their proposals were accepted, they would be funded from that account, from that the seed money. The seed money was provided by the ROC then, But as soon as the money got into the account, the
You
following
said
week,
the
His Excellency
ROC?
withdrew everything.
The ROC, the Republic of China,
China on Taiwan, yes.
On Taiwan.
Yes.
Okay.
The seed money was $1 million, but as soon as it landed in the account, His Excellency withdrew it the next week. All of it.
What was the periodic payment into the account?
Pardon?
Was there an agreement with ROC, by the way?
Yes, there was an agreement with ROC.
There was an agreement
Yes,
with ROC.
because
Okay.
they could not release funds just like that.
Okay. And you say as soon as the money landed, it was withdrawn.
Yes, that was withdrawn.
All right.
And then concerning the payments, some of the students were sponsored from this account, yes.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I'm saying some of the students were sponsored from this account,
Yes.
yes. And others were sponsored from the other accounts, because he would say, sometimes it's specific, pay from this account. Or other times he would say, pay from the funds.
Okay, the funds meaning the Youth Development Fund or
No, the various accounts operated by the Office of the President.
just the funds, paid from the funds?
They pay from the funds, yes.
Is there anything else about the training of students that you think might be helpful to this commission?
Excuse me, sir, ma'am?
Is there any other information concerning the sponsorship of students you think might be helpful to this commission?
Yes, what I have perhaps would be of help to the commission is the approvals that he made himself. He would, I have copies of the approvals that he made himself,
Yes.
minted in the files to say sponsor A, sponsor B, sponsor C, yeah. I have some records of those sponsor approvals.
Normally, wouldn't he be the one, I thought you said he would be the one who approved.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is the difference between, okay, you have some record of those
Yeah, he
documents.
would minute in the file to say that this application is
All right.
approved, this one is not approved.
Well, if you could compile those, and we will accept them and so, at some point. All right, thank you very much. Let's come back to the International Gateway account.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the one we had started discussing yesterday.
Yes, please.
The one into which proceeds from TEL were paid. Now, we see that there were significant payments to Competence Company Limited,
Yes.
Sawane,
Yes,
from
please.
different accounts.
Yes, please.
And one of them is instructions that you and Mr. Sabali gave dated 10th May 2014 for the payment of $3,421 from that account. What was it that Competence was doing for?
Competence Company, for the payment that you just mentioned, it was for they were doing a renovation of the Ministry of Works, Justice's complex, the Attorney General's office.
I see.
They were doing the renovation. So the amount in question was 75% of the total contract sum.
Was there any tender for that work?
I don't think so. I don't know, to be candid, yes.
I see. All right. Now, the third payment, do you have any document? You want to show us anything? You had a minute for them?
The
or-
payment, yes, I have, yes.
All
I
right.
have His Excellency's approval. It's here.
All right, let's have it. Can I have the document? All right, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I think I'll just collect them, then hand them over. Then there was a payment to Sindola Safari Lodge
Yes, ma'am.
of $1,407,651.
Yes, please.
Now, Sindola Safari Lodge
Yes, please.
is obviously not a government institution.
It is not.
Who owns it?
I would want to believe that it was owned by the former president because issues affecting Sindola Safari Lodge were being addressed at the office.
I see.
Like who was the manager and all those things,
Who
were
was the
discussed.
manager?
No, I'm saying that any one time, if he wanted to, appoint a manager or remove a manager, those were done at the office.
Okay, appoint manager or
Yes.
were you at any time involved in the appointment of a manager?
No, please.
I see. All right. So what was this money that was paid for, that you and Mr. Sabali authorized?
This would have been one of the various bills that, for the payment of bills. I
For the
think.
payment of
Bills.
bills?
Yes, bills. I can't remember very well, but maybe Mr. Sabali can remember, but it was for
Did
the
you
payment
have
of bills.
authority? Whose authority did you have to approve it?
This authority might be in the file in the OP 450, yes. The reference is on the letter. I'm sure the authority would be in the file.
You don't have any document for it?
No, please, I don't have any document.
Could you just explain also this FIFA World Cup, $95,000?
Yes, please.
What is this? It
The
was to
payment,
do what?
the payment was done on behalf of GRTS. The GRTS was indebted to the African Union of Broadcasting.
Was indebted to?
The African Union of Broadcasting.
Okay.
And if they didn't pay up, they wouldn't have been able to show or telecast the World Cup. So they sent a letter to the president asking him to help them pay. And he approved it.
I see. You have documents?
Yes, I do.
Let's have what you have. You have documents, the president approving it.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
You also authorized the payment with Mr. Sabali to TK Motors.
Yes, ma'am.
Of I believe it was 10 million.
Yes, ma'am. It was $10 million.
$10 million
Yeah.
dollars.
$10 million, yes.
We have also come across payments to TK Motors for the purchase of vehicles from these accounts, which are really public accounts.
Yes, that's correct.
Tell us about this particular payment first. I have some questions for you on
Yeah. This particular payment, the TK Motors, the chairman of TK Motors, Tarek Musa, sent a letter to the president, and the subject was outstanding invoices for vehicles supplied. So it was based on this that His Excellency said we should pay them $10 million against the total sum of 19 million.
19 million.
Yes, please.
Who were the vehicles supplied to?
TK Motors.
Who were they supplied to, the vehicles?
No, they were supplied to various government institutions.
I see.
Yes. There's a long list of vehicles supplied, so I wouldn't know exactly to who and who they were supplied.
Do you know who authorized the supply of the vehicles?
Usually the request for supply of vehicles would be sent to him, the former president.
Be sent to
The former president, yes.
himself.
Yes. For approval.
You have the documents. You have the document
Yes,
approving the letter you mentioned and approval by the president.
The approval would be in the file, but the letter from addressed to His Excellency, the former president.
By the file, you mean the file quoted in your letter?
Yes, the file quoted in the letter, yes. But the letter from TK Motors and the statement of account, I have all those.
Well,
And their banking details, everything, yeah.
Okay, let's have the letter. We'll facilitate access to the file so that you can locate the approval. So these vehicles that were supplied, do you know? Okay, let's see the letter first. The institutions to which they are supplied is mentioned.
No, but I'm sure the institutions will be in the file, because I have not seen any institution mentioned here.
Is it possible that they were not supplied to any institution?
This is something I wouldn't know, because I just got to know about this when the request for payment was sent to me.
You were not otherwise involved
No.
in the purchase of the vehicle?
No.
Okay, can we have the documents, please?
Yes, that's right.
Now, there was a payment to a bank in Morocco, Bank Populaire, for $280,310.13. And you instructed the withdrawal of the funds with Mr. Sabali.
Yes, it was for the purchase of some red carpets.
Red carpets?
Yes, please.
These are the red carpets that are laid out at the airport, when the president arrived.
Exactly, that's correct.
$280,310 US.
Yes, please.
Do you have any documents?
Yes, I do.
Confirming what you said? Was it authorized by the president?
What I have here is the invoice and the banking details and the cost. Sorry, of course the invoice has the cost. The invoice and the banking details. Perhaps the approval would be in the file. Because like I said, the instructions, some of the instructions I copied discreetly and at random. Because if you knew I was copying these things, that would have been a different story. I may not have been here today. Yes, please.
Why did you copy these documents? I don't think I asked you that question.
Yes. In all fairness, I knew that a day of reckoning would come.
You knew that?
A day of reckoning would come. Whether it took 50 years or 100 years, but I knew it would come.
I see.
I didn't know it was going to be so soon.
You knew a day of reckoning would come?
Yes, certainly, yes. I was convinced.
And so you copied these documents for what purpose?
For, to prove that what I was involved in were instructions from him.
All right. The International Gateway account doesn't have very much. Let's move on to the Vision 2016 account. There are some transactions in that account that we would like you also to explain.